tell your friends, tell your family to chill out on the retail people this week, because this is a nightmare situation working anywhere around Christmas time. Because if you're working in retail, you've got obviously insane people coming in trying to shop for the last minute, and they're mad that they don't have whatever. And then if you work in restaurants, everybody's family is in town and they're all obnoxious. So tip as much as you can. Be nice to your retail people. But I
practice the P&T.
Yes.
Please and thank you.
That's right.
Nice.
That's right. It's very, very important. But I wanted to share some holiday retail and restaurant nightmares that I culled from Reddit.
Wow.
Yes.
There's a great Reddit called Retail Hell, and it's been up for over a decade at this point, and it's just people sharing insane things that happen to them working retail or in restaurants and that kind of thing.
It's an inexhaustible supply because people's basic narcissism and rudeness. It's the lifeblood of our country, of the world, almost, you know. And it's just like, yeah, dude, it'll never stop.
Oh,
popping.
yeah.
That Reddit there would never stop popping.
Oh, yeah. And having worked in a bunch of restaurants, Have I worked in retail? I don't think I have. I've worked in restaurants. That's the closest to it. But yeah, it's one of those things where you're going to get a million crazy things that happen to you. And especially like around this time of year when you're just like already overworked and everything's terrible, things really start to stick out. So you can tell a lot of these stories that people are sharing, they've been holding on to them for a while, and they're all pretty good. So I was going to share a couple of them. This one is from a user, Dances with Yorkies. And it won't surprise you, the first line, I work at a pet store. It was Christmas Eve, and lucky me, I was organizing the dog shoes. Which I'm like, this is already the stupidest pet store.
Yeah.
I guess I don't have a dog, so maybe this is a normal thing, but it's just all bad. They say sometimes people will steal one and only one shoe. There's 4 shoes for a dog. And she's like, wait, there's only 3 shoes here. So she's trying to get the dog shoes in order. So a customer comes up to me and says, excuse me, what time do you open tomorrow? So they say, we're closed tomorrow. In fact, we're closing in half an hour because it's Christmas Eve. That's unacceptable. I need a manager. Which is,
right away. Wow.
Yeah, right. I mean,
no pause, no nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Zero.
No, are you sure that's correct?
No,
I need a manager immediately.
This place that sells dog shoes dares to be closed on Christmas? Are you saying that the demand for dog shoes is not high enough on Christmas Day?
If that fucking thing ain't dying, you don't have an animal emergency on Christmas.
No. Also, what does he think a manager's going to do? Is like, oh, thanks. Yeah, you know what?
Actually,
I will just hire everybody else. We'll all work.
Right.
I can just, you know what? You're right. We'll open it up for you.
Thanks for bringing that to our attention.
Yeah.
That we were fucking over the people who shop for their dogs on Christmas.
Yeah, jeez.
Sometimes, hey,
thank you so much.
You know, your dog leash breaks at 8 a.m. on Christmas morning. What are you going to do? There's nothing to be done except you guys have to open. So I need a manager. The Dances with the Yorkies says, sure, just a second. So I flag her down from the next aisle. The manager says, what's the problem? She says, I want to shop tomorrow. She says, we're closed tomorrow, but you can always use our website. And she says, I'll be here no matter what. And at that point, I'm just like, by all means, please come back here tomorrow.
Yeah.
That sounds ominous. That's like Max Cady.
That sounds like a threat.
Yeah, well, it turns out to be a pretty justified threat. The next day, one associate and a manager comes in for half an hour to feed the animals. So it's a pet store, so they're feeding the birds and shit. And they hear someone banging on the door. It's the customer from yesterday.
Oh, shit.
The customer starts ripping at the seal around the door and kicking the glass. Police were called and they took her away in handcuffs. I'm sure she had a lovely Christmas. So.
Damn.
I mean, I got to say, shout out to the crazy lady because
that's dedication.
Making good on threats. People talk a big game, but this lady actually showed up and tried to break the door down at Christmas on the next day.
Oh, dude, it's just funny how like mania is processed by our culture. Like, I'm thinking she's in some movie where she desperately on this day because of some Christmas thing, she has to complete the plot of this movie and you're fucking that up. That's not the case. But movies have taught me to think of it maybe it's that way.
Right.
You know, maybe she's on a Back to the Future mission.
Yeah,
what do you think? What is it? What was so important?
There was like a salamander that got delivered late night on the night before Christmas that she had to liberate, or something weird.
But I would say even in movies, even dystopian movies, pet stores are still closed on Christmas. Like that's not a thing anyone needs on Christmas. Things that are open are grocery stores, and that's kind of it, right?
There was an alien who showed up her house and said, if you do not shop at this store on Christmas, we will blow up the earth.
Get hit by a meteor that we will nudge with our spaceship.
This is from another user. It's been a long time, but I'm a veteran of 3 Christmases at Target. Ooh. Right around the time that flat screen TVs were starting to get affordable for the average person, one Black Friday we had an $800 TV that was on sale for less than $300 with a limit of 2 per customer. This guy comes in with his 5 kids, and each of them grabs 2 TVs.
Oh, my God.
Our last 12 TVs. So the guy grabs 2. All of his 5 kids grab 2. And that's all of them. Some lady who had been waiting outside since the wee hours saw them all lined up and took issue with it. She comes to complain to me, and I tell her, as long as they're paying separately, there's nothing I can do. I'm like, are they opening a fucking restaurant? Like a sports bar? Why does this family need 12 TVs?
Open a Buffalo Wild Wings.
Look, coming from a long line of sketchy motherfuckers, they were obviously going to sell those.
Reselling them for for MSRP.
Flip them TVs.
So as long as they're paying separately, nothing I can do. She doesn't like my response and goes and starts a verbal altercation with the man, who quickly escalates it to a physical altercation, and then starts to include other people. So now there's just this guy like probably pushed this lady in the middle of the store, and people are like, "Hey, what the fuck?"
Don't push that lady. And then,
Oh
she ends up destroying 4 of the TVs by stomping on them.
Team Petty. I kind of love that.
Yeah, me too.
And he ends up punching her and knocking out her tooth.
Whoa!
So, yeah, I was like, Jesus.
Merry fucking Christmas.
This is just uncalled for. Both them and another guy all get hauled off by the police. So some other third party just also gets arrested.
The craziest part is, you might not realize this, but that's actually what Jingle All the Way is based on.
That's right. It was a Turbo Man. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. I got to say, my favorite person in the story, and it's the person that nobody's focusing on, is that third guy who got arrested, because he's the craziest guy in the world.
Oh, yeah. No, he saw some shit going down. He tears his shirt off and just jumps into the melee.
Yes.
That type of shit. Like, those people were always ready to go, and they're like, fuck, I got to get in this.
No, I got the perfect thing. And he's like, has to go out to his car to get his fucking like nightstick or whatever.
Yeah, it's fucking katana blade.
Yeah, he goes to the...
Don't worry, this is the bamboo one.
Yeah.
This is my training sword.
Yeah, he goes to the camping section and gets the machetes, and he's like swinging them around.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, that guy's, he's the scariest guy. He said, the last line, "It's a warm memory that still stirs my holiday spirits." It's like, yeah, get me too.
I do love that that guy was like, well, I gotta let these children buy these TVs.
Yeah.
I think you could make an argument that a 9-year-old should not be able to buy a TV with his own money.
Yeah.
Like, that 9-year-old worked to make that $300 he has in his pocket.
$600. That's for 2 TVs.
That's right.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm thinking is this guy has, like 25 credit cards that are all, basically maxed out, and he just hands them out to the kids like he's dealing stud. He's like, all right, here, you take the Amex, you take the Master, you take Capital One.
Let's do this.
Lined up.
I still remember, I don't even know if this company is in existence anymore. There's a place called Children's Palace.
Uh-huh.
It was a place to buy toys around when Toys R Us was functional as well. It was like Toys R Us's rival in Kansas City.
Oh, okay.
Go to Children's Palace around Christmas time, and I'm going to buy my little toys. And I saw this kid with all the toys I wanted, running with several $100 bills in his hand. And I'm like 8, he's like 6.
Yeah.
And he's running with everything I wanted. And $100 bills in his hands, just in his little shitty hand. They dropped their lunch pass, they dropped their pencils, and he's just running around with $100 bills. I'll never forget it. I was like, that kid before, you know what I'm saying, before the age of reason had more money than I've ever seen in my life.
Right, yeah.
You know, it was a lasting memory that fucked me up around Christmas.
You know that kid's fucked up too, by the way, because you know what his parents did? Hey, here's $200. Go buy whatever you want. I'm busy.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Or Daddy's drinking. Here.
Here's the $300. Can you buy some stuff with that?
I have to figure out who to fire at my very important company.
What's the exchange rate on inattention? Because I would love to like trade some attention for some shit.
Right.
I would have loved that.
Yeah. I guess that's a good point.
Yeah. If I could have some of that money and you could have some of my...
I would have traded that for not having to wear my brother's shoes.
Exactly.
This is an anonymous user. I'm fairly new to management at the small bakery where I work. We closed early today for Christmas Eve, and as I was finally locking the doors to take my little girl Christmas shopping, a woman came blazing up in her Mercedes. Don't tell me you're closed. I need a bunch of desserts.
Fuck.
It's like, dude, I would not even acknowledge that person's existence.
Yeah, no.
No. And she says, I'm standing right in front of the sign on the door, which displays our holiday hours. And I'm awkwardly pointing to it and smiling and saying, I'm terribly sorry, but we're closed. And she says, oh, it'll just take me a minute. And I'm sorry, we're closed. The registers are closed and there's no product to sell. Once she realizes her smarmy smile isn't getting her anywhere, she snarls, I checked your website and it says you're open until 8 p.m. And she says, I know this is a lie because I'm the one who updated the website with our holiday hours a month ago.
Oh, shit. Check. And mate.
Yeah. She gets the crazy eyes in front of my daughter and screams, you will be available to serve me.
Holy shit.
I was like, that is some Disney villain shit.
You will.
Yeah.
That's some rich people shit right there.
Yeah. Rich or Jafar, one or the other.
You will be available to serve me.
Once I have this genie, you will serve me. This is such an odd statement that I numbly apologize again and back towards my car with my daughter behind me while she's screaming at me, fuck you, bitch, you ruined Christmas dinner.
Oh, God.
Nah, you ruined your own Christmas dinner.
You're
a rich person. Take personal responsibility.
I am a guy who, at all times, mid-range has my shit together. And I could tell you that if it's 6 p.m. on Christmas Eve, if you don't have desserts, baby, you're not getting desserts.
Dude, and you know what really bothers me about this story? You were talking about that's rich people shit. You know what? It's people who think they're rich people shit.
Yeah.
You're right.
Goofy
You're right.
sports Mercedes and all this bullshit pulling up. That person doesn't have enough money to have personal help. Get shit like this in a timely fashion.
Yeah.
But she has just enough money to feel imperious over workers and shit.
No, you're right.
You know what I mean? That upper middle class shittiness is almost
she
worse.
Makes $68,000 and $500.
Yeah.
$68,500 a year.
Yeah.
She's kind of rich, but she's living out of her means.
Yeah.
Right.
She doesn't have enough time.
In like Wisconsin. You know what I mean? So she's just balling for her area.
Yeah. And she's giving her kid $200 to go run through the store in front of little Ed.
Yeah. Traumatized.
And then yelling at somebody about their fucking desserts.
Oh, man.
The best.
You ruined.
You ruined my Christmas dinner. The last line is great. My daughter was silent as we pulled out of the parking lot and finally said in a very small voice, that made me so sad. It's like, damn, kid with the fucking alley-oop.
Oh, wow.
So
Out of the mouth of babes, as they
so
say.
Fucking amazing.
I love how they can just put the button on stuff, you know? Keep it simple.
It's perfect.
Keep it fucking simple. That made me so sad.
That made me really sad. This is another one. First thing, it's perfect. I worked at Hot Topic during the holiday season. You're like, oh, God.
Good, here we go. What Cannibal Corpse fan came in?
Yeah. This actually just makes the Hot Topic look terrible. The minimum amount of hours that they could work you was 4 hours a week, and that's exactly what they did for the whole month. They also made every employee work a mandatory 12-hour shift for Black Friday because the mall was going to be open for 24 hours that day.
Oh.
And I'm like, okay, so they didn't give you enough hours until they decided to break you under
that sounds about right.
The wheel
corporations.
Employees were encouraged to wear dresses and shirts from the store and try to sell them. We were told that if the item was sold out, though, we had to sell the piece we were wearing to the customer.
What?
And like,
Give me the shirt off your back?
so obviously I assume the idea is like you go get another shirt and swap them out, but it's so much funnier to be like retail as strip poker.
Yeah.
Like once you're nude, you get to leave.
That motherfucker's a hell of a salesman.
Right. Well, Bradley, I see your dongus. It's time for you to clock out. Nice balls, by the way. Merry Christmas.
I didn't know they were pierced.
Yeah.
Hot topic.
The Monday after Black Friday, we were all fired.
Oh, that's
It's like this
yeah.
is hot topic.
I hope they sued the shit out of them.
Shit. I'm sure this is in some godforsaken right to work state where
You can't sue anybody.
Right. Yeah. It's like, oh no, did they fuck you? That's crazy. Wow.
Yeah. They also didn't pay your overtime.
Yeah. Why are you naked, by the way?
well, but at least those are like good people. I had a shitty job. I was a real asshole in my previous life before I became a comedian, and I worked as a bill collector for Ameriquest Mortgage.
Oh God.
And they used every bill collecting place has a day where you come in hella early and you just call the shit out of everybody so you can make that last amount of money so they can show the month tally was bigger than the last
quarterly earnings,
whatever that type of shit. So like everyone I've ever been to had one of those. We're out here on the West Coast, so we would show up at 3:30 so that we could get on the phones right at 4 and call the East Coast. We could call, I think, at 7 o'clock. It was Sunday. 9 times out of 10, it was for some reason the last day of the month that we could work would be on like a Sunday. Sunday, 7 o'clock in the morning. Your phone rings. Oh, no. And it's me talking about your mortgage and you're a piece of shit and all this jazz.
And this was probably the years before every phone call was a scam.
Right. Dude, so it was so brutal, dude. And to be there from 6 in the morning to like almost 10 at night.
Oh my God.
It was like brutal. It was really fucking brutal. And I don't know how I did it.
I was going to say, what was the best like bitching out that you got? Or was there one?
I got some that were pretty harrowing, actually. I called this guy and I go, yo, your fucking, your mortgage is 3 months behind. And he's like, shit, man. That's fucking crazy, man.
That's what I'd say.
I give Darla that money every single month. And I was like, well, I'm sorry, but we don't get it.
Yeah.
And I just stopped talking. And he wanted me to say more. And I was like, not saying it anymore. And he was like, hell you say. And then I hear him put the phone down and he stomps off. And he opens the door. And I hear whispering and eventually shrieking.
Oh my God!
Oh fuck!
Dude. Oh no!
You got someone murdered,
dude. And then this quavering voice comes back on the phone and goes, I guess I gotta do a check by phone. And she gives me a check by phone for like $10,000.
Oh my God!
To catch up the fucking mortgage.
Holy shit!
And then the guy, and I go, is everything all right over there? And he goes, yeah, man, I think we're cool now. And right as the phone is hanging up, he goes, you fucking dumb bitch, you done fucked up my shit. And then I didn't hear anything else.
Oh my God.
So like I fucking literally, I called back and I didn't hear anything. But then like the next month, she answered the phone and she's alive, I guess. And she was like, oh, hey, are you the one? How you doing? And she gives me a check my phone instantly to catch up her. She was almost 30 days late.
Oh, God.
She caught back up. So it's like with mortgages, I think people decide to play around. And a lot of times people have different homes and shit.
Right.
So right around that time, I think people were flipping houses, fucking around, taking money, shifting stuff.
Yeah, why did the economy collapse?
Exactly.
Was it because banks were letting people do that?
Dude, and let me tell you something. America's Mortgage is one of the shittiest mortgage companies of all time. I hesitate to even say I was down with them because they were so shady. They sponsored the fucking World Series one year.
Yeah.
And the next year they were out of business. That tells you how shady they were.
How it's like a FTX situation.
Yes,
yeah.
Very much so.
They had the what was it, the baseball stadium in Miami last year, and now they're gone.
It's as if when you move around pretend stuff.
Yeah.
That whoa, that might backfire on you.
Right.
Well, that's interesting about these retail stories is these are at least real products.
Yes.
Yeah. My retail stories is, you guys, some of you know, I used to sell sandwiches and salads to businesses. And this actually works because it was just before I was about to go on Christmas break. So first off, the place that I would go to had a sort of outside courtyard where it wasn't quite outside. It was sort of like almost like a screen atop the thing.
Yeah.
So it was dependent upon weather. So if it gets cold, it's fucking cold. And I had a lot of customers, like 15, 20 people would line up, right?
Yeah.
So I'm trying to get through it quickly so nobody has to freeze their asses off. And there'd be a lady who would come, and every day she'd be like, hey, can I get a muffin? I'd be like, sure, no problem. She's like, oh, how much is the muffin? I'm like, it's $1.50. And then she would go, $1.50?
You should do this every day.
Why so much? Every single fucking day.
Yeah.
And then I would say something as polite like, I don't know, you know how it is.
Times are crazy.
Yeah, whatever.
Those blueberries, though.
And then she would buy the muffin and pay in dimes and nickels from a fucking purse. And people would just be like furious behind her, so fucking mad, and they'd be like, I'm sorry. And they just pay me, and then they would go.
Right.
And then one day, I don't know what happened. She asked, I don't know if I had maybe it was a bad driving day, whatever. She comes and she's like, oh, can I get a muffin? I'm like, yes. And she's like, how? It's $1.50.
$1.50.
And then she goes, why so much? And I'm like, you know what? If you think this muffin is too expensive, you can go somewhere else and buy it.
Yeah. Make your own goddamn muffins.
Make a muffin.
You know
whatever you want.
Do you know how many muffins you can make for $1.50?
Oh my fucking god!
Fucking million of them. Go do that.
Go do it. Just go do it and stop this.
A bag of Jiffy muffins is a fucking $1.50.
Yeah. And then she was getting mad, and then she was like, "Well, you don't have to be so rude." And I was like, people are waiting behind you. You do this every single day. I've told you every day it's $1.50. No, I have to do this.
The muffin is now $3.
You have a choice to either buy this muffin or never buy this muffin from me again. What do you want to do? And then she goes, okay, I'll buy it. And then she pulls out the change purse. I was like, no, you have to give me dollars.
Yeah.
And then she never complained again.
Okay.
Kept coming and buying the muffin.
Yeah.
So it worked, but it was just like, it took a year for me to become furious.
Somewhere out there's a 150-year-old woman doing a podcast right now, just being like, "This boy was mean.
So mean to me."
Well, dude, even then, I'm trying to see the other side where it's like that was like her only interaction the whole day. They like keep her chained to a chair in the basement.
It's possible. Who knows?
That's what a lot of this is people who don't talk to human beings and don't touch grass.
Yeah.
Go out into the real world, and all of a sudden they're just like they're feral. They've been cut loose.
Feral people.
Yeah. They've just been sitting there staring at the walls, and now it's time to talk. All of a sudden
I got some stuff to say.
I was gonna say, next thing you know, you're punching out a lady and stomping on a TV. This is a quick one from Peggy. Once, when on my hands and knees picking up clothes from under the sales rails, which I'd never heard it called that, the clothes rack, the sales rails. I think this might be British. Under the sales rails, a woman stood on my hair and fingers and didn't move until she found her size.
Wow. Ma'am, you're sitting on my fingers.
Yeah. Well,
this hurts a lot.
excuse me.
Bloody
Pardon.
You're ever so heavy.
Yeah, I didn't.
Perhaps less fruitcake.
Yeah. So this is a great username. Usernames are stupid 12. And this is the
Awesome.
This is the last one. This one is awesome. I worked at a restaurant that is right across the street from the mall. We were open on Black Friday, so naturally, after people got great deals or whatever, they would come to eat. Anyway, I'm sitting back at the house Black Friday morning, waiting for my inevitably long shift to start. It was incredibly busy, as it was, but I wasn't about to clock in early. So I was BSing with one of the managers when I heard the hostess scream through the walkie-talkie, "Help! Help!" So I immediately rushed to the entrance to see two grown men on the ground fighting. One of them was in nothing but his underwear. So as a guy who's coming to mini restaurants for a morning shift where you're just like half asleep, you're just drinking that coffee, just like, God damn it, to suddenly just snap to help, and now there's a mostly naked man just tussling. That's better than coffee, my friend. You're like, I'm awake.
Yeah, you won't need to drink this fruitcake Mountain Dew for that.
Yeah. Fruit quakes out the window. My manager's trying to pull them off of each other while screaming, "Fucking stop! This is a family restaurant. There are children here." I'm like, that manager's the nerdiest nerd. I know why he's the manager. He's probably younger than the guy writing the story.
Yes.
That is one of those situations. Like, this is a family restaurant, sir.
Yeah.
Like, all right, chill out, Dalton. You're 18. Just let him go. Who cares? I jolted forward in an attempt to break up the fight. This is where it gets weird.
This is where.
Okay.
Everyone is gathered around this small area, either watching or trying to help, when suddenly someone grabbed a fire extinguisher and started spraying all of us.
All of them, not the kid, not the guys fighting.
No, everyone.
Yeah.
The fighting guys, everyone trying to break it up, everyone watching, just somebody was like, "Anarchy!" And
I'm telling you, that third person is the culprit.
always, yeah, with all of these stories, if there is a third party involved, you're like, it wouldn't happen to me necessarily, but if I was listening to someone describe a series of escalating events that ended with them in their underwear fighting, I could maybe be like, okay, wow, that's crazy, man. You wore a Utilikilt to JCPenney's and it just came off while you were brawling. Mm-hmm. That's wild. But the guy who's like, yeah, and then I grabbed a fire extinguisher and just sprayed the whole restaurant with it. That's
It's
amazing.
like one of those things you always want to do, and you try to figure out a time to do it, and it's like, no time like the present, brother. I'm living.
Yeah.
Let's watch too many fucking TV shows.
Oh man, our co-host emeritus Pat Riley always told this great story of, I think it was in high school, where just everybody was like, there was like a big fight on, like they were playing basketball and this big fight, and a bunch of people were like on the ground tussling, and somebody ran in and dropped the elbow like The Rock in the middle of the fight.
That's
What
awesome.
I'm talking about, dude. Yeah.
Why not? Yeah.
Frog splash.
Yeah, wild card, and then you're just spraying fire extinguishers.
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah. So we have a bunch of people trying to break up a fight between a man in his underwear and some other dude, and someone is spraying us with a fire extinguisher while we have Christmas carols playing in the background. Finally, we get the fight broken up. The cops show up, the whole 9 yards. Turns out the guy got the last TV at the Best Buy. And the other guy got pissed and followed him to the restaurant in an attempt to buy the TV from him. The one who got the TV told him to fuck off, and so this guy took off his pants and they got into a fight. Now, I've heard of taking your shirt off.
Yes. Yes.
I now have I don't plan on getting into a fight, but I know what I'm doing, because that'll throw somebody.
Yeah.
If you rip your shirt off, it's like, all right, let's go, fat boy. But if you just take your pants off,
Yeah.
then it's like, okay, now I'm concerned.
Yeah.
What kind of shoes did he have on? That's what I want to know.
Did he
You know
leave
what I
them
mean?
on?
Because
Yeah.
did he have to tie him on, untie them to take his pants off?
See,
Hold on, we're gonna fight. Just untying his shoes,
Dude,
taking them
okay.
off one at a time, like
So if
Fred
fighting-
Rogers.
Oh, that would really freak him out too. If won't you be mine? While you're like getting ready to fight,
Pants.
would you be mine? Would you be mine? Won't you be mine? I'm like, all right, I'm actually good. I'm backing off. You win.
You can have the TV.
Uncle.
Well, if fighting, if the de rigueur move for fighting was to take off your pants, bell bottoms would be the hardest pants of all time. Every time you saw somebody with bell bottoms or like those
Yep.
buccaneer flared pants or whatever,
Uh-huh.
you'd be like, that's a hard motherfucker.
Yeah.
It's easy access for him to get his pants all the way off to fuck us up.
This dude's got the Mandy Moore flare jeans. Uh-oh. You know he'd be fucking people up.
And then you would never trust anyone in Jenkos,
Oh, dude.
which you already
18
kind of don't do anyways.
18-inch mammoths, man.
Oh, shit.
18-inch mammoths were made for fighting. That's what they say.
And
fuck yeah.
rollerblading.
Yeah.
Okay, what is the uniform for fighting? Because back in my day, like early 90s, the uniform for fighting, person you probably didn't want to fight, they would have like the overalls with the one with the one
one strap?
With the one strap. Yeah, you don't want to scrap with that guy. Fuck.
What do we call wife beaters now?
A shirts.
A shirts.
Yeah.
He has an A shirt on
Yeah.
under that thing
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. It's you're right. Yeah. The overalls with the one strap. If it's a kid, really cute. If it's an adult, do not fuck with
not
that guy.
fuck with
Yeah.
That guy is not right. Oh my god. I was thinking maybe the situation is the pants were very, very expensive pants. You know,
You didn't want to get blood on them.
and he, so he took because apparently Frank Sinatra used to do that. So to keep the pants pressed and looking nice, all the Rat Pack guys before they'd go on stage would just be sitting in their underwear smoking cigars and drinking, and their pants would be hanging up so they could just put them on and go to stage, and they're still pressed. So I'm thinking these are fancy pants, but then that leaves the possibility that when he takes the pants off, he is wearing the sock garters. You know, if this is like a really fancy gentleman and he's throwing bows like the 1900s, or he's got the, put his dukes up kind of a thing.
The Fighting Irish.
Yeah, the Notre Dame logo.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, the Notre Dame logo.